back to the motion of the agenda. You want to go back or the minutes?
For the minutes.
The minutes? Who made the motion?
I made a motion to approve the minutes of November 28, 2022 as presented.
And I
And
second it.
Bob seconded. Okay.
Who did the agenda?
Approval of the agenda.
You seconded it.
I made the motion for the agenda. This is Dick Combs and Mary Lee Harris seconded it.
No changes?
No changes and the vote was unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay. Any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just a comment that since I was participating remotely and couldn't hear that transaction, I did not vote on the approval of the agenda.
Okay. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion on the corrections or additions to the minutes?
I have none.
Mary Lee?
One word. On page 3. Down where it starts 1, 2, 3, 4, Bob Spalding. Ask where Dick Coombs should have the feeling.
Got that, Mike? Okay.
That will be keeping the building.
Okay.
That's the only thing I found.
Bob,
I don't know.
you're good. Dick, I'm good. You're good. Joe,
I'm fine.
you're good. All those,
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
sure, I'm sorry.
I did have one other correction, I think.
Okay.
On the third page, the exit executive session paragraph says R. Coombs made a motion to enter executive session
Oh,
at 9:01. That should say exit executive session.
Okay. Any other corrections?
Not from me, thank you.
Okay. If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes as corrected, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion's approved. Moving on to citizens' comments or concerns, items not on the agenda. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board item not on the agenda? Yes, Mary Drozy.
Mary Brogy, we do have CVS on the agenda, but I'm not sure if my questions would be addressed to that, so you tell me if I should wait. I saw in the last select board minutes that Dick Coombs and Mike Jones said they would like to see the new rec director and rec commission come up with a 5-year plan for the village, for refuse of the village school. And and myself and members of the rec commission would be interested to know if that's something we should start working on, or if there's been further conversation about us needing to do that.
Short answer is yes. I'd love for you to proceed on that.
Okay. Any guidance on terms of time frame or?
Well, the bottom line is that we need to find a way, if this building winds up remaining in our possession, which is yet to be seen, but if it does, we need to have a way to, we need a solid financial plan as to where the money's going to come from. It doesn't all necessarily all have to come from rec, but we at least have to have some idea of what portion of that expense would be covered by rec. That's where I'm going with this. So I'd be happy to talk to you offline about it.
Okay.
And we can help you dream up a plan and even maybe help you grind some of the sausage, but I don't think this is the place to do that.
Okay.
But we got to start somewhere, Mary.
Okay, excellent. I have 2 more questions related to CVS. One is that several select board meetings ago, I believe you said the select board would notify the public, not of any specifics, not of any proprietary financial specifics, but if there was a pending offer.
That's correct.
Okay, and so my question is, are there any pending offers?
No, they're not.
Or not? Okay, terrific. And then my last question is, on the town website, it says any offer must consider leasing a portion back to the town. So I'm just wondering if you have any further elaboration on that, because I remember a select board meeting where you guys came out and said there was no requirement to lease back. I remember that select board. It was the special meeting. you guys said,
There was
okay,
there was no what, Mary?
there were gonna be no requirements for a buyer to lease back to the town for rent.
Not necessarily.
Okay, so must consider means what? It's on the town website. It says must consider. What does that
When-
mean?
I made that motion. I don't recall exactly which meeting it was, but it was this past summer. And I remember I used the word, may, I believe was the word I used. May contain or something along those lines. I didn't want to commit to it one way or the other, but I wanted the possibility to exist. So, I'd have to go back through the minutes and find my exact wording of that motion, or you're welcome to do that too. I think it was sometime in July or August. It shouldn't be that hard to find. But that's when we made the motion to list the property for sale,
Right.
which probably occurred in July. That would be my guess, because the July 7th meeting was the one where the select board voted. Was it 7-1? There was 8 members present, right, between the two boards? So it was 7-1 to sell it. And then there was a meeting or two after that. There was another joint meeting with the two boards, and we made the motion to, or I made the motion to list the building for sale.
That was it. That was that.
And so that's where that wording, the wording is in that motion, and you'd have to look at that motion,
Okay.
because I honestly don't recall exactly what I said, but I made sure that I left it open-ended on purpose.
Okay. So on the town website, in the official for sale notice for CVS, it says must consider. Is that?
Must consider means must consider.
That may not
That's
be,
not final.
that may not be factually accurate, but compared to the motion that I made, we'd have to research that, Mary.
Okay.
I honestly don't have a straight answer for you right now, but we can get you one.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anyone else who wishes to address the board items not on the agenda?
Yes,
Linda Bird.
thank you, Linda Bird.
Yes,
One, this is really to Mike Jones. You have a paper that Zach Hale wanted to be given out to all members. That's correct. You do? Yes.
Uh,
Okay, has it been handed out?
You guys all have that in your packet, right?
no,
I don't know what
Well,
you're
it's
talking
here
about.
on the, it's not here on the table.
On the table.
Yeah,
on the table. We didn't have it on
It was
our
handed
packet.
out, I'm sure it was in the, I handed it on the table, I guess.
We just received it prior to the meeting, Linda.
Okay, thanks. He asked me if I would come and hand it out, but I've had surgery and I can't go anywhere, so here I am Zoom. Number two, I think it was Dick Coombs that said that he would get right back to me after the last meeting addressing my concerns. To date, I have not heard from anybody official from the board.
Actually, it was you that said that.
It was, yeah, I would think I was the one that said that, Linda. And as soon as a decision is made by the board, you will be notified. At the present time, no decision has been made.
Well, even that would been nice to get a note. Because I have been tied up with surgery and I don't know what's going on, so I'd like to know what's going on. I'd like to stay current with everything.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Anyone else who wishes to address the board items not on the agenda?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Zach Hale. Just wanted to,
Go ahead, Zach.
I just wanted to present the addendum number 2 that I asked somebody to hand out for me tonight. And we discussed at the last meeting, and this is a request to extend the due diligence period on the purchase sales agreement another 6 months. With this specific due diligence period being for a decision by the environmental court in favor of allowing memory care and not having to have a kitchen in the unit of assisted living and memory care, and then creating a 6th due diligence period for Act 250 and other permits. And so if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I think the short answer is, Mike, have you referred this to the town attorney?
I did today, Zach. I forwarded that to our attorney. I haven't heard back from him, but I know this is gonna sunset at some point coming up here. Right?
When do you need a decision on this, Zach?
We need this now.
What's now?
Tonight would be best.
We just received it at the beginning of the meeting. I mean,
That's fine. So whenever you can make a decision, the sooner the better.
we will do the best we can. Mike?
Well, the issue is we don't have a meeting scheduled for the second, or the fourth, Monday in December, which would have been the 26th. So this would bleed over into January. And I thought, Zach, I don't have it in front of me right now, but I thought there was a date that you have to have this executed by. Is that correct?
Well, we're currently in due diligence period number 5 right now, which is allowed for Act 250. And so
What is the drop dead date for you?
the final due diligence period that we have on the contract.
Hold it.
Yep.
When is the drop dead date that you have to receive an answer from this board?
Okay, so it's a little bit more complicated. We had until November 13th to have due diligence for local permitting, and we have passed that date.
Okay,
And so we are now in due diligence period number 5, which is only allowed for Act 250.
Okay.
And so right now I have a project that I cannot move forward with, and I'm, based on this purchase sales agreement, need to pay $9,000. So that's where we're at.
okay. Any comments from the board on that? Is that it for you, Zach, on that item?
Yes.
Okay. Any comments from the board?
Just that we need to have
Suggestions?
this reviewed and on the agenda for the next board meeting.
You want to make a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second,
For
Second.
discussion.
And a second. Any discussion?
I recuse myself.
Okay, Mary Lee recuses herself.
When is the next board meeting if we're not gonna meet on the
What is it?
26th?
The,
We haven't figured that out yet, but I'm just saying it should be on the agenda for the next board meeting,
Sure.
whenever that is.
Okay, I think Zach needs to know.
yeah,
Yeah, because he's got a deadline.
sure.
So we can't answer that to Zach right
We
now.
can't give Zach a straight answer on that because we don't have a straight answer. Zach,
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Joe?
isn't that January 9th?
Yes.
Yes, January 9th. Is it possible you can wait till January 9th, Zach?
I can wait until January 9th.
Okay, that solves it. It'll be on the agenda, acted on January 9th. Is that agreeable?
as long as we all vote yes, or as long as a number of us vote yes.
Okay. That's your answer, Zach. You have an answer on January 9th or the morning of the 10th.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
May I speak again?
You got, yeah, Joe's got his hand up.
Thank you.
Joe,
I think we have a motion on the floor, seconded. I think we need to vote on it.
yes, we do. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Four
Have
to
discussion?
It's Wenda Bird.
Yes.
the discussion. The discussion is board discussion.
Fine.
Okay. Any other discussion from the board? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
4-0. Mary Lee recuses. So anyone else who wishes to address the board, items not on the agenda.
Wenda.
Here's your chance, Linda.
That it?
But we were still under citizens' concerns since Zach spoke up. And I thought that it was okay for me to give my 2 cents, so to speak.
Okay, you got 2 cents.
Are we not? I know this is a double negative, not under contract as of November. Since we've gone past the due date.
Zach indicated he could wait until January 9th, which is the next board meeting, and we assured him we would have an answer for him at that time.
So we're out of contract and we need to do a new contract.
He didn't say that. We didn't say that. No attorneys have said that,
Well, I'm not an attorney, but I am a realtor.
and I'm not an attorney either, and I'm not a realtor.
but I am a Realtor.
I know, I heard you.
I'll have, Mr. Chairman, I'll be talking to our attorney tomorrow.
Yes,
And I'll seek an answer for that because that
Okay.
due diligence period is sunset, it's gone by.
okay, all right. That answer your question, Linda?
I didn't hear it. I don't hear it when there's mumbling. I don't hear it.
Mike said he would be talking to the attorney tomorrow and get an answer as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you very much, Mike.
You're welcome. Anything else? Items not on the agenda? If not. You ready, chief? You've been ready, haven't you?
I'm always ready. Right? All right, so I know I missed the last meetings. I was in another meeting, so kind of like a double one. We had the October, which I don't know if anybody had any questions in reference to that particular report. If not, I'll just jump into the November one. Okay. So if you look in November, this past November, you can see our calls went up probably, I don't know, 40 or so, 43. Really nothing stands out. Except we did a tremendous amount of like inspections. Last month. For everybody's registered vehicles or what was going on. And a lot of those do come from Brown, so for selling vehicles.
Yeah, I did notice, chief, most of your call increase was either that or fingerprints.
Yeah, fingerprints, which is what's in it. For arrests, we're right around our average, anywhere from 10 to 15, so that's kind of what we did in the 12 last month. Nothing stood out with no significant events outside of all the exception of wintertime. We usually get more DWIs, and we had 3 last month. Prep violations stayed about the same, averaging about that much. With the snow now coming, it's going to probably diminish a little bit because of the roads, although we had a number of accidents this past weekend, or last night, I should say. And university calls. It's been relatively, it's what it normally does off campus. Usually once we get past Halloween, the calls for off-campus parties usually diminish because of cold weather. Not a lot of kids are moving around, no students. And we only had 3 calls we responded to for the university. If you want to look at the back provided, that's that's pretty much what we average. If we get a double digits, then that's something that's above average, what we normally do. We did have a huge event in November where we did respond to a missing person, and we were able to find her, a resident. Yeah, we actually called into New England search and rescue dogs from New Hampshire. Worked excellent. I think that's it right there. Any questions on that stuff?
Any questions on that portion? Board? Seeing none, go ahead, chief.
Okay, so the only thing I brought up to Mike was because of our vehicle situation. I asked Mike for part of the ARPA money that to get another vehicle for this coming year. Not the one that I just ordered, another one. And because of the fact that we looked into another cruiser purchase organization that's actually out of Massachusetts that actually keeps a whole fleet of them. So they have, and I gave him I had Justin put together a cruiser purchase, what it's going to cost and such. And Mike and I met today, but I just want you to think about it. And because of the fact that we just put some more motor mounts on one of the cars. So really for our mileage on the cars right now, we have for the 15, which is the one that's going to be going when I get mine in, it's 152. Mine has 136. The 18 has 108. And of course, the 20 has 50. We try to like exchange, obviously, when I just get over 100, and that's ideal because you start running into a lot of maintenance.
I'm gonna pass this around.
I'll make copies for everybody, just so you're, what Chief's talking about, we talked today about it. I think on that original list, Barb, I put a cruiser on there because they're behind due to not putting enough away, year to year to purchase a vehicle, so that proposal, I'll make copies and get to the board members, but, that's what that's what Chief was talking about for the ARPA funds. And then this would put them back on track for a normal maintenance or a replacement schedule.
So we don't have that, right?
You don't.
Okay, okay. Any other questions? For Chief?
I got
Yeah,
one.
Bob?
Well, on number 6, when it says the weekend officers are maintaining a strong presence in the university off-campus housing areas, no additional houses were issued violations in November. What's the typical violation that you issue to these houses?
Usually either noise or a open container, but mostly of them are mostly noise. So anything that goes after 11 o'clock is usually where we make those rounds. And some of them are at their third, as you can see that list.
Yep.
So you got 89 South, so their next violation would be $150 each to each tenant.
To each tenant.
Right. So
Okay.
by the time you get the third one, it's 155. That's based on our ordinance. And I think that's kind of disturbed somewhat.
Anything else for Chief? No?
Joe Mark has a question.
Who?
Yes.
Joe Mark.
Joe, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. I haven't seen this proposal for the use of ARPA money for a vehicle replacement for the PD, but I guess my question is, if that is being requested, is there also a proposal to change the sinking fund for future vehicle replacement? Sounds like that has been underfunded annually.
It has as of the last 2 years, Joe. We increased it, but looking at the price of this car that was handed to me today by the chief, what we've increased over the last 2 years is still not enough. So it's going to have to be put into the future budgets to be able to even meet the bottom line right now, the bare minimum.
What's the bottom line? on
Right now,
purchase?
it's the vehicle that just priced out is $50,363.65. That includes all the additional equipment needed as lights and cages and such and radios. So
The radio.
was this radio installation? Yeah. So
How much is in the reserve fund?
we're putting 24,000.
Yeah, but how much do we have in there? Do you know how much we have?
51,000.
Okay,
But that's for the vehicle.
That's the one that's in there now is being paid.
so you don't have anything.
No,
So you were proposing 50,000 come out of the ARCA funds?
no.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Because it takes 10 to 12 months before the vehicle's done.
Yeah.
That'll be well into 23 after July.
But where would the money come from?
And then I'm gonna sell one for 2017.
I'll
Hopefully get some money out of that.
I talked to Chief about this today. I'll put this something together for the board, because the original stuff that the list of possible uses of ARPA, the police cruiser, I believe, was in there. At least as on my dry erase board, but I believe it's in there as a consideration. And without belaboring it now, there's a way to get back on track, and the only way that is either to raise the sinking fund amount substantially, or possibly use ARPA to give them some breathing room so that we can get back on track.
Okay. Anything else on this?
Just to give the board some background, last year we changed the reserve account from annual deposit into the reserve account from 17,000 to 24,500.
Okay.
And it's still probably not enough.
Okay. Anything else on this?
Just one question.
Sure.
How often do we rotate?
So my original plan was every 2 years. So every 2 years I would order a vehicle. For the last 2 years, last year we got jammed up because he didn't, when I say every 2 years, so it's every 4 years, but every 2 years, because they're 2 years apart. So last year I got a year behind because he never ordered a vehicle.
He being who?
The state rep.
Okay, I'll make that
They're
clear.
not ordering.
Okay.
Forgot it.
Who didn't order it, chief?
The state rep.
Oh, he didn't.
Handles The state bid fleets.
What happened?
He forgot. I emailed him.
How about that, huh?
I briefed that to you guys, and they also didn't order the one, the truck and the
I was
transfer.
gonna say the pickup truck, the same
Which
guy.
is why
Yeah.
we went into this other organization that it's not gonna cost us any more, actually.
Okay.
So,
Okay, anything else on this? Mike's going to get this to us. All righty. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Items not on the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, we're way by that. Chief,
We're on PD now.
we spent some time on that. Bridge committee update, Martha Molnar. You're up, ladies.
So, this is Charlotte Gersten.
Martha, can we ask you guys, the microphones that there, and they may not hear you from back there.
Here?
No, anywhere, in here's fine, just so you're talking towards that, box there.
So, I'm Martha Molnar. This is Charlotte Gersten, who's the co-chair with me at the Bridge Initiative. And we thought that, it's been, we're into our 8th year now. You hear about us occasionally, you know, we are busy, but we thought it's a good time to bring you up to date and let you know about the many, many projects that, we're involved in. And we won't get into what we already did, what's past. We're just gonna focus on what we do now. So very briefly, the recently completed projects that we did, you might have noticed there's a kiosk at the village store that the student government paid for, and John Raylan allowed us to put it up there, and we post news about what happens at Castleton University in the kiosk. And we know it's being used and looked at because people tell us so. Ceterac is distributing bags of welcome bags to new residents, new home buyers specifically. And to welcome them to town and give them information. And so Castleton University information is also now included in those bags. And the other very quick completed project, we asked residents for 2 years in a row whether they'd like to get information about what happens at the university that might be of interest to them, cultural events and so on. And a large number signed up. Yeah, I know it's well over 100 people who signed up to get information, and that goes out regularly. And they attend cultural events. We remind them that they can use the pool and the exercise room. They can use trails and so on. So
It's an email. You can sign up to get an email every month about during the semester about what's going on campus. And it's on the Bridge Initiative page on the website. Sign up.
So now we'll move on to the current projects that we're working on.
Well, I just want to say that that we're around 15 core people that have been around 10 people have been sticking with us all the way from 2015 till now on the Bridge Initiative, and it's faculty and staff and people from town. And around 34 people get all of our emails, or kind of like on our email list, and we meet once a month, and we have a student who's the vice president of community relations who comes regularly. And let's see. So as far as recent events, we started a Friends of Castleton International students. We have around 85 international students, and then more who are students who immigrated with their families to the US before coming to college, who aren't considered international students, but they might be considered new Americans. And so there's, so over 100, well over that for students from other countries who are on our campus, and to show them a warm welcome from the town. And then also for the town to benefit from, learning about these different cultures. We started a group called Friends of Castleton International Students. And we had an organizational meeting in September. And then we did a potluck dinner for them before they left for break in October for the students who are staying, and then right before Thanksgiving. And we organized some people to host them for Thanksgiving dinner. And some people have hosted them for dinners to learn how to make apple pies, to learn how to knit. And so people can sign up to get emails about those events. So we hope to do more of that kind of hosting and events where there's interaction between people from town and the students. And then one other thing that's coming up is we're doing a soundings event. So soundings is a program where the first year students and juniors have to take a certain number of, attend a certain number of events as part of our Gen Ed program. And so you kind of are guaranteed an audience of the students. And so it's called Direct Democracy in Vermont, an exploration of town meeting day. And it's going to be Thursday, March 2nd, right before town meeting day, to educate students about civic participation and what's called slow democracy, like local decision making, which you guys know way more about than I do. But we have a speaker who's an expert coming, and we have an exhibit of a film to show them about town meetings. So for students who aren't Vermonters or from New England, to learn about town meeting and what it is, and just encourage them to learn about participation in democracy and civic engagement. So those are a couple new things.
I forgot to mention that Charlotte is a librarian at Castleton University. I'm the town resident, and the entire committee, we have more than 15 people now, 2 new people in the past month or two, are made up of Castleton University and town residents. And lately we've been trying to collaborate with CEDERAC, and looking forward to collaborating with other organizations. One of the things we collaborated on CEDERAC with is building a bench, 2 benches actually, by the river, by the Castleton River, which Mike has agreed and has done a great job of keeping mowed. And the benches are ready. Unfortunately, by the time we're ready to put them in, the ground kind of froze. So at this point, we'll wait till spring. The other thing that we try to do, and we were on the way to success, but then as we were planning to have a walking path by starting sort of at the benches by the river, by Dooley Field, to go all the way to the bridge and then out to North Road. The people who own that, a lot of the property are in the midst of selling it. And so they don't want any encumbrances on it, which is understandable. But at the very least, by spring, we'll have 2 nice benches built there paid for by CEDERAC, built by 47 Main Street. And people will be able to go there, sit, look around, enjoy the river, and they'll be able to walk or work with the students to create a path so they can at least walk to North Road and back. I don't know if any of you have been there, but it is a beautiful river that we don't get to enjoy at all. We only see it when we cross it on roads. The other last project we're working on right now is creating an ice skating rink. And I know Bo got the marching orders, right?
That's right.
So, there'll be a skating rink, hopefully, when it cooperates, at the town green. And we're working with the Castleton Free Library. They lend out bikes and snowshoes, and they're looking for sleds to lend out. And we are hoping that we can also work with them so they can lend out ice skates. And the hockey team, sorry, yes, of course. The hockey team has agreed to provide instruction and games. And the university is also donating benches so people can put their skates on and take them off. And that's what we're working on now. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? To
Just
the ladies?
one, when you said that you could sign up for this email list on the website, what website?
So on the university's website,
Okay,
if you just search Bridge Initiative,
okay,
you'll come to our page on the website, and
okay,
there's a link to sign up for that
all right.
email list. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had your own website or if it was the university's
It's
website.
the university's website, was our page on the university's website, and so it's during the semester, once a month, an email about the upcoming events on campus that the public is invited to.
Okay, thank you.
We
Any other
actually have
questions for
2
the
members
ladies?
here, the Bridge Committee, Sue Day is up there, and Mary Brody,
And now Bo.
and Bo, who is a member, whether they want to or not.
Okay, thank you very much for the update. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Moving on to the mowing bids. Being rather controversial, the mowing bids.
I think their name is.
This looked like it was actually.
Find your
pretty
mowing bids,
straightforward.
Mike?
Yeah, I got it.
Down there.
Looked pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
are, so the last time the board approved mowing bids, it was for 2 years, a 2-year period. I'm asking the same this time. It's just easier to get people and not chase after quotes. But this year we chased after quotes and we only got 2 back. Same 2 that were, same 2 contractors that were mowing last year. And here's a shocker for everyone. The price went up. So, just,
Imagine.
so overall,
How did
between
that
bid
happen?
1 and bid 2, they went up approximately $12,000. So that's a hit on the budget. What I found out today, I was talking with Melanie. The mowings minus the Dewey Field and Hydeville Field has been coming out of summer maintenance of the highway, which I find not transparent because it's buried in there. So it doesn't, you really can't tell that it's not split out. So on that draft budget I gave you, I broke them out by this sheet. I'm digressing. I apologize. Just so you have a frame of reference, but so bid 1 and 2, I broke them down into what's rec and what's town's lands. So when you look at town lands on the budget, it now says what it is, where it's coming from. So you kind of can. So my concern is if you approve this, no matter how you do it, it's got to be in the budget somewhere. But if it's under town lands right now, that town lands goes from like $3,000 now up to much more. So I'm concerned that those that vote on that ballot article won't understand why it went up. So that's why, as we work this budget, I'm just bringing it to your attention. If it has to go back, it could be put back into the summer maintenance of the highway department, but just clearly annotate where it's what's coming out of that budget line.
Those funds that are in town lands will not be in summer maintenance, though, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
So it removes them out of summer maintenance and puts them into town lands, because everything that's on that list minus the fields is town lands. So it just made more sense and get it out of the summer maintenance for the highway garage.
So we'll be able to show that though. When they ask, well, how come the town lands went up so much? You'll say, look at the summer maintenance. It went down by the same amount.
We
Is that
can
correct?
explain it at
Yeah.
town meeting, but 80 people attend town meeting
I know.
and 2,000 people vote,
I understand.
or have the potential to vote.
Well,
So-
does that mean you'll be reducing the summer maintenance budget by that much?
I already did that.
You
So
already did it, okay.
that's reflected in the budget.
All right,
draft
you're
budget
just
you got.
shifting it,
And
right?
Joe, I have a copy. It will be in your mailbox, or I can drop it off and throw it. I'll drive by and throw it out at your lawn.
Thank you.
That's old paperboy days. So what's before you right now is approving bid 1 and bid 2, the amounts for cutting it sweet and white knights. And on page 1 of the mowing bids, it says the totals below are for 1 year and the bids are for 2 years, so the amounts have to be doubled. But at the bottom of the page, I did the math and shows where it's doubled. The numbers are doubled, and it shows the difference between the last 2 years bids and these. So, because the other thing I'm reluctant to bring it up, but I think it should be brought up. I spoke with DPW folks. If we tried to hire someone summer help to mow lawns, it's much cheaper than hiring these contractors. But we've had very little success in finding people to hire or people wanting to work. But I was talking with Brent about it, and that's a valid concern, I think, is, we put it into, if you take it out of a contractor's hands and you put it back into a summer program, if we can't find the people to hire, then it's going to fall on the highway department and they're going to have to be doing other things. Because it's going to take probably 2 days, 2.5 days to finish all the mowing. based upon the estimates from the current contractors. So there's enough to do already without adding more to their plate. But it's certainly, I put it in there. It's a lot cheaper to hire 2 people for whatever it was, 18 weeks, whatever I put on there. And use our mowers. We bought that brand new mower from that trackless machine from Middlebury College, which has a mower deck on it. We got a couple different mowers up there. So I just want to put it out there. I'm not recommending the town. I'm just showing you there's a cost savings. We did it that way. And the reason I'm not recommending is I can't guarantee that we can hire someone.
So you're the author of this document?
I am.
Okay. Can I ask
Mary Lee?
one question? Well, Mary Lee, can go
I'm
first.
sorry.
Go ahead,
Go ahead.
go first.
Is if we hire someone that's using our town equipment and whatnot, is there an age because of it being mowing and stuff like that?
Yeah, I usually verify that with VLCT to make sure that we're not violating some labor laws. But yes,
Do you have any
typically
idea what
18. Well,
18?
yeah, well, for driving vehicles, for the mowers, I'm not sure. Anybody else know that answer?
I think it's 18.
Yeah.
It blades on the board.
So
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Bob?
you want to go first?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can go, yeah, sure. I guess this is a question for either Brent and or Dave. If we decided to have the town crew, hire people for the town crew, you'd have to administrate this, right? So it'd be one more thing for the foreman to do, or one more thing for the town crew to do, that one more ball in the air you got to juggle, right?
You're absolutely correct.
All right, moving on. The other thing I noticed in this document, it said that our Bo, our new rec director, would be expected to mow grass 1 day a week. Is that correct?
It's in the job description for the rec director to do some field maintenance. Mow Dewey Field, that really wasn't the spirit of it all.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to going out there and running a shovel or a lawnmower occasionally, but not 1 day a week all summer long. I don't think that's a good idea. I'm done.
You're done. Bob?
My question, and you kind of answered it, Mike. Do we really have all the necessary equipment to do this on our own?
We do.
We have trailers and we have the mowers, we have the weed whackers.
We got 2
We got
walking lines, the trackless, we got a zero turn and a Johnson Red riding lawnmower that sits up at the rack and the shed too that don't get used.
And you have the trailers and the pickups
We
to
do.
hook up to
But
the trailers.
We
And
do, but we don't have. And that's where my concern was, this would be finding the help, because once we commit, if we don't find the help, then the highway department, 2 guys, 2.5 days a week are gonna be doing it.
no, I understand that. I'm not, that we did take that on. But
I
I
do have all the equipment.
when was the last time we used that equipment?
We use the walk behinds all summer long for mowing the transfer station and the town garage.
Okay.
And the ones at Crystal Beach, I don't know. Last time I saw, they have the new Kubota, so I think they spend most of the time sitting in the shed.
Okay.
They are up there.
They use them, but they got that new Kubota and it's got a wider deck on it.
Okay. I just,
We use the trackless, with the 15-foot batwing when we took over the elementary school. That's what we were mowing that with. About an hour and a half with a guy in it, and they can mow everything behind the elementary school. It's very fast. It's just you gotta have a body to put it in.
The other appealing part of that is if the hours wise, they're not, for those hours, they're not engaged with mowing. They could be engaged to mow the roadsides or wash the bridges and the guardrails. So there's a plus side to it, but I haven't had any luck finding people to hire. And it's a really big commitment once we do that.
and stripe our sidewalks and stuff.
And that's part of it. And they can do the striping and
Seems to be a common practice in this country these days.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ready to make a motion when you are. Sure.
I've got a question.
Go ahead, Dave.
This is Joe.
Oh, Joe, I'm sorry.
I'm looking at the mowing bid page for 2023, 2024 for Cutting It Sweet, and their total is listed as 16,322, on the bid package 1 from Cutting It Sweet, there's some hand notations down at the bottom that suggest that an annual price would be $14,697. Which of those is correct?
Scratch the 14,697, that, and the 29,394. I redid all that math today, backwards and forwards, so the 16,322, no matter how I did the multiplication and addition, that's what it came up to.
Okay, and on the bid package 2 for White Knight, there's no total on the bid package page, but I assume that your total of $5,995 is correct.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, you just threw a monkey wrench into what I'm looking at. Where do you see the 5,000, whatever?
5,995.
Oh, okay, but didn't you say, Mike, that's only for 1 year? We got to double those.
Correct. If you go to the roll-up page I did at the very bottom.
This one here.
No, this one here. So at the very bottom, there's the 2023 through 24. So if you add $5,995 or multiply times 2, it should come out to 11,990.
Okay.
It does. Already checked. I wore out my fingers today counting them.
Takes a lot of fingers to get up to $11,000.
Make a mark on the wall. That's why I have marks on my wall.
I'm ready to make a motion when you're ready to hear one. Mr. Chairman.
Bob,
Yep.
you all set, Bob?
Yeah, I'm going to listen to what Dick's going to
Okay,
say.
go ahead, Dick.
My motion is to award bid number 1 to Cutting It Sweet for 2 years for a total of $32,644, and bid number 2 to White Knight for 2 years for a total of $11,990.
Is there a second?
I'll second
And a
that.
second. Do we have more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Brent, you got to keep the roads mowed. Deal?
Okay. Moving on, request for retail cannabis, I guess, sale in Castleton. We put on the March ballot without the need for an additional petition. This was brought by Janet Currie. Janet, would you like to address this?
I'm requesting the select board to put it on the ballot versus me going out a third time and getting the signatures required in order to put it on the ballot. It was favorable by the select board twice, so I feel that when I collected signatures before, so I'd like to put it on the ballot.
Without a petition? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because you can do that.
Okay. Okay. Any questions for Janet?
Maybe not for Janet, maybe for what does state statute actually allow us to do and require us to do? Do you have an answer to that, Janet? I do not. I didn't research
You have
this.
the authority. The select board as legislative body of the town can put whatever they want on a ballot without having to collect signatures.
So we are not, so if we decide to do this, you are not, let me rephrase this. We're not legally required to require you to get signatures.
Correct. So many towns have done that in the past. But the select board body has made a decision just to. put it
You've
on
already
the
gone
ballot.
out and gotten the signatures twice? Is that
Yes,
correct?
I did twice. Or 2 votes.
Any other questions?
And I'll need to have a decision on that quite quickly.
Any
Waiting
other?
until January 9th probably wasn't going to help you at all.
I feel it's a decision. I think it's an easy decision. I have collected signatures twice. We've had 2 votes on it. Each time I presented to the select board, it was decided in favor because I had to bring the petition to you with signatures. You all make a vote. You've decided to put it on twice. I think this time you should be able to put it on without me having to go out and collect the signatures of the 5% of the voters. Many towns have done this without an individual such as myself going out and doing it. So you as a legislative body of this town have the authority to put that on the ballot without me having to go and do it again.
Okay, I understand that. What was the vote the last time? The pub?
15. Missed it by 15 votes.
In the time before?
45.
So it's right around, not quite 50%. 49 point something.
There's a lot of individuals who, that's weird. I could say, there's just a lot of people just don't understand civics. They don't understand voting. They don't understand that they have to come out and vote. They sign a petition. The next day it was, oh, I was supposed to go and vote. Yes. It's a lack of education, lack of civics, lack of understanding how towns work. But I think this time around, since we had, again, put it on there twice.
Well, for what it's worth, Janet, if you are required to get signatures, I'll be happy to be the first one to sign your petition, and I'll be happy to vote yes in March. Okay, for what that's worth to you.
Just a little information, I am getting my wholesale and manufacturing processing licenses pretty quick. So I would like to have a roundabout having the retail. So the select board would, I don't know if you need to go in executive session to discuss this or not, but as I said, I brought 2 sets of to you twice. You voted favorably to put it on the ballot. You have the authority to put it on the ballot without me having to go out and get those petitions again.
Aren't we required to place something on the ballot if someone presents a legal petition asking to vote on it?
Wait, what?
Aren't we required to place an item on the ballot if we receive a legal petition?
I thought you said illegal. I'm sorry.
No, legal.
Legal. I believe you are, but I also trying to think what rule was under. I think it's rule 23, but yes, answer your question. Short.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Do we want to? I think you convinced me, Janet. I'm gonna make a motion that we put the article for retail cannabis on the ballot again this year in March on town meeting day.
And that is
Without
without
the need for a petition.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there discussion?
Can we do?
Mr. Chairman,
Hold it.
Go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead, Joe.
I guess I'm not inclined to put this on the ballot without a petition in view of the fact that this has twice been defeated by the citizens. I think it puts us in a prejudicial position to unilaterally put this on the ballot.
Thank you, Joe. Other comments? You have some more, Joe?
No, thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
Any other comments from the board members?
I don't really understand Joe's position on that. I mean, what's the harm of putting it on there?
I see Joe's point because it's been voted down twice. So I see his point. However, I also quite confident that if Janet wanted to, she could go out and get the required signatures. So I personally, I understand Joe's point, but I don't see the need to make this person go through that again.
Let me ask you a question, Dick. Do you know of any past history where the select board has placed an item on the ballot like this without a legal petition?
I do not. I do know that we have the authority to do so, though.
Having the authority and doing it are two different things.
Agreed.
I believe we have, Dick, in regards to the Rutland County Solid Waste District vote.
You're right. We did 2 or 3 way back when, first time around, I believe we did.
Did we have a petition?
There was no
It
petition.
wasn't? Okay.
I brought it to the board.
It was by your request.
And then
remember that.
I missed the meeting and you changed the wording of it, which you obviously have a perfectly good right. But it was on the ballot.
Okay, any other questions or concerns? I have a couple other comments I'll make. I will also vote against this for the simple reason that, as stated, this has been defeated twice. Granted, it was a close vote. As far as I'm concerned, it would be setting a precedent that any individual or group could come in here and ask for something to be placed on the ballot without the required number of signatures.
Hey,
We also know that the Recreation Department, I believe, has a petition ready. If there's a purchase and sales agreement and they have the petition with the required number of signatures, and therefore it would be placed on the ballot whenever that occurs. So I am not supportive of this. I feel if you feel sincerely about it, then you go get your signatures and it's placed on the ballot.
The main comment.
Sure.
So, Chairman Spalding made a good point here. How many times did the Rutland County Solid Waste go up on the ballot?
Each time it was petitioned,
You got petitions, you got signatures?
Not the first time.
not the first time, but every time. What did we vote? 3 times, 4 times?
3 times with a petition.
3 times with a petition.
You got petitioned 3 times.
I believe I have, yeah.
That's correct.
One time I did not.
I can verify that at
Were
least
you
once
involved
you
in that,
did not.
Bob?
A little bit.
At least once you did not, and at least twice you did. I don't know if there was a third time.
Yeah, you may be correct.
So let's
I
look
don't
at,
know for sure.
let's diagnose this a little bit. First time you got petitions and it did not pass. Is that correct?
No.
I can't tell you, it's been on the ballot 3 times. One time it was a tied vote, a literally tied
I
vote.
know that.
And I had a
Yeah.
recount,
Remember that.
298 to 298. So it didn't go down overwhelmingly by the town.
So was it the 3rd time that you asked to be requested to put it on the ballot without having petitions?
It was one of the first or second time that was requested. And I missed the next meeting and Mr. Coombs changed it so that the select board would decide. And the people voted to have the select board decide, the 5 members of the select board decide.
Well, if the people decided it, that's their decision.
The people decided to have the select board
If the people decided
whether
that,
to withdraw.
that's their option.
Yeah.
Mary Lee,
I will sign your petition and I will vote. But I agree with Jim. I think we're setting precedent. And Joe.
Okay.
Just for the record, the only reason I'm not of the same mindset you are is because she's already been through this 3 times. If somebody else showed up with a request that had never been petitioned, I would be totally unreceptive to that. Just for the record.
but the point of it was defeated twice.
Well,
You can commit 10 times if you want. I mean, that's.
I'm just
that's
telling you
everybody's
my
option.
mindset now.
I got it.
You're not gonna change my mind. I'm not gonna change yours, so.
Okay, no problem. All right, we ready for a vote? All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I,
Yay.
Yay. Motion fails 3-2. Get your petition, Janet. It'll be on the ballot.
Come see me, I'll sign it. I'll be the first one. Okay?
Municipal roads grants, general permit, coverage requirements and application submission.
Dave, you on?
I am.
I know you guys are you and Brent were working on this, so I'll let you guys talk about it.
Okay, so we are submitting 2 grant applications. One a C class for West Castleton Road, 2 sections, drainage mostly, and some guardrail work. Just a point, I don't know if Pete's still there.
Yes.
But there was an accident right where we wanted to put the guardrails, I believe, last night. The second grant application is a larger D class grant request, and that's for a large drainage project on Belgo Road on 1 section. Brent, do you have anything you want to add?
I just want to add something to respond, Dave. I did get you a message. I talked with a couple officers. We're gonna put something together indicating how many accidents, because we had that motorcycle last summer. We've had like probably 5 accidents there. in the last-
Okay. Thank you, Pete. I appreciate it.
Put something together for you for that grant.
I just want to state that we were successful last year with both a B and a D grant. The B is small culvert stuff and ditching, but the D, anything over 36 inches. That's how the town was able to get the South Street trestle partially funded. It was through the Better Roads Category D But the one that they're applying for, we go back pre-2019. There was a washout, the storm up there. And then, so that happened, you know, we didn't get any funding to fix anything. Then in 2019, it happened and FEMA wouldn't pay the town or wouldn't consider it for reimbursement because it wasn't in the same exact spot. It was a different size of the road and like, you know, I don't remember how far apart, but let's say it was 100 yards apart or so. So we didn't get any money. But Josh Carvajal from Rivers and Streams did an upland, the watershed study and determined that this culvert is undersized and it needs to be upsized. And within our internally, we just couldn't find a way to get it done or agree to get it done. But this year, talking with Brent about it, he said he likes a challenge. This is a lot of ledge removal and a very large culvert. But it's a $60,000 grant, and upon completion of it, it should handle the volume of water as per Josh's design, and we won't have the road washed out anymore. And we use grant money minus the 20% that we have to pay, which can be in kind work to pay for it. So to me, it's been a long time coming for that category D grant, and that both Brent and Dave have talked it over, and they believe they can do the work. So that's why an application is being submitted.
Any questions for Mike on this?
No, I have one
Or
that's probably
for-
for Brent or Dave.
For Brent or Dave?
This
yeah.
is that ugly turn on Belgo
Um,
or just upstream from there?
the ugly turn would be below that. So just as you start out where the cabin sits over the water,
Where the half the road turned up missing a couple years ago?
yes,
Okay.
Yes.
get to the S. Yeah. For me, the big thing was I wanted you guys to see the dollar amounts. You know, just see what our match was. Both projects would be good projects, be awesome if we got them, but you know, our share, there's some money there, so.
But the good thing is we can do a lot of it in kind.
Right.
So we're not spending actual like greenbacks. We're spending it through our labor and our equipment costs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's money coming out of the budget, but it's not like we have to take $20,000 out of the budget.
I mean, the West Castleton one, we're paying for that basically in kind, but we're getting the $20,000 in guardrails, which is the one thing in culverts, we could do anything. But that's a lot of money for guardrails.
But it reduces your out of pocket.
Right.
I understand. What do you need from us?
So these applications need to be submitted coming up in a couple of days. Because there's a match, I thought it'd be respectful to the select board to make sure that you guys understood what was going on and that you agree for us to submit the grants.
I'm confused.
Me too.
Is there a motion?
Nope.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mary Lee.
I got a question too.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. When you're talking about in kind, that means our men are gonna do it. But we're already
Yeah.
them.
So
So we're really not saving anything if we're already paying them.
we're not, well, they'd be doing that kind of work anyway, because that's it's a high priority segment up there. So we have to fix it at some point. So we tie it in with this grant. So we're getting the share done by our work, but it pays for way beyond what we're spending for them to.
So like we get the FEMA wage, when we go do these grant projects, we get the FEMA wage for our dump trucks, for our excavator, for our bucket loader. That's all money we don't get back when we go do the project on our own. So now when we go up there and do it, you know, we're getting $80 an hour for our tandem, we're getting $78 an hour for our excavator, we're getting $60 an hour for our loader. That adds up to be a lot of money at the end. So that's where some of that income comes from. You're welcome.
Bob,
Just my clarification, and probably because if I get asked this question, you talked about Belgo Road.
Yeah.
This says West Castleton Road.
There's two different grants there, Bob. One's for West
Okay,
Castleton
we
Road,
got-
one for Belgo.
Oh, okay, I've got the Belgo one here to the right, but I thought we were talking about the West Castleton, and then all of a sudden somebody said something Belgo Road.
So West Castleton Road is just above Coriel. Is this section we want to do, just as you cross over the line, Fairhaven to Castleton, you start down over the hill through the Adjourn, where the old wooden guardrail is, and
Oh,
the
okay.
cable's been gone.
Okay.
That whole section down through there's two culverts and all that ditching along the ledge. And then fix the shoulder and put in, I think it was 700 feet of guardrail. there.
Yep, that's what it says here. Okay, all right.
Place is full of snakes.
Oh, I won't be working there then. That's why.
Not this time of year.
They're not bad.
Remember that fire on Parker Road?
But going into the drink in Glen Lake is not a good ride.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay. That wouldn't
Any other
end well.
questions? If not, is there a motion?
Do you need a motion, Mike? or-
Just to approve us to.
Yeah, we
apply
gotta
for it.
sign, we gotta sign this thing.
Yeah.
I don't. But we need a motion.
Go for it, Dick.
Go, Dick.
You-
Go take a stab at it, Bob.
I just make a motion. We allow the town crew town manager to apply for these 2 grants on West Castleton Road and the Belgo Road. Do you need a dollar amount? No.
It's a set dollar amount, but it's, but they're, it's category B and D.
Okay. Add that to the motion, category B and D.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion?
Just make sure it's in the minutes. They're part of the Vermont Better Roads Grant Program.
Okay,
So who seconded it? Mary Lee?
Mary Lee.
very leader.
Gonna vote on it?
Yeah, sure. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Do I have to sign this, Mike, or you sign it?
Yeah, you can sign it.
Thanks.
You guys made the motion, so. And while you're signing that, I apologize, Bo, to this late in the game to introduce you to the board. So, Bo, Elliot Ramos is our Parks and Rec Director. She's been spending her waking hours at the Castleton Village School, cleaning up down there, riding around on the Zamboni safely. And I got a selfie to prove that. Bo also was there in the cleanup on the 3rd of December. So welcome aboard, Bo. And I think you see everybody's names, but Joe Marcus,
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
you met Joe.
Hi, Bo.
And I met Joe and I met Dick at the fair last Saturday as well. So
I met you too, Bo.
yeah, we met a couple times. We bumped elbows.
Welcome aboard and thank you.
Yes. Okay, anything else on this? If there's not, we'll move on to the manager's report.
Oh my God, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry.
I didn't say it, you did.
Well, 2/3 of it I just set aside because it was the grant stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, no, wait a minute, before we get to that.
No, we're on track.
Oh, yeah, we're okay. That next one will be after that. Yeah,
Your Excel's watching your back. Don't worry.
nice to have.
on page 1, paragraph 1C, transportation alternative grant for stormwater mitigation and the new salt and sand shed. So that application will be submitted tomorrow, as long as the select board approves me to do that tonight. I think I've tried to explain in there that even with the grant, which is $375,000, which 300 is for construction, 75 for design and engineering. We have 253,000. I confirmed that today, set aside already. And the grant, there'll be some shortfalls if you just do the face value math right now, but what it doesn't include is our homework that we had to do to contact contractors for this building. They put $300,000 in the MSK engineers when they did the scoping study. They put $300,000 in there for the building. So that's something that Dave, myself, and Brent still need to work on to see if that's a valid number. And they put a high figure in there for concrete. So this weekend, while I was at home coughing and hacking, I was emailing people and texting them, asking them, right, Heath? Asking them if they knew what the going rate for poured in place concrete is right now for slabs and walls. So that's ongoing. But I think that at the end, when we start taking out some of the contingency and some of the in-kind stuff like earth moving, that we can get this thing down to either no additional money or a small amount of money. And this was discussed, I think, by Mr. Spalding at a couple of different meetings you asked about ARPA funds to be used on that. Well, hopefully that if we do our homework and we are diligent that we don't get to that point, I have to come back to the board, but if potentially that I may have to come back to the board.
To use ARPA funds.
To use some, to get additional funding, let's put it that way. I won't say ARPA, I'll say additional funding. But this, I know that this has been ongoing and that a need, and it also is shown in the scoping study that because we have an uncovered salt pile and the transfer of salt outside of that shed, as that stuff is ground up, becomes finer, gets on the roads, gets washed into the brook. It's the health of Pond Hill Brook is what the environmental side is on, but we also fall into the state's stormwater mitigation, that 3 acre of impervious surface. This area falls into that, so we have to do something anyway. So if part of this grant process is the earthwork, I've talked to Brent about it. There's some work that we can do in kind. If you look at the quote, if you still have that scoping study, you look inside their cost estimate, they went really high with their numbers. But the earthwork we can do ourselves. So we save, hundreds of thousands of dollars total if we look at that. And that's I verified that we can do that. We can put in this whole process that we want to do stuff in kind. So if you're looking for me to give you an exact answer of what it's going to cost, I cannot. But I can tell you it will be $375,000 less if we don't apply for it.
I assume it's gonna take time after you apply.
But yeah,
Are
probably
you looking for 2023 to be done?
this will be probably bleeding into 2024 because we're applying for a grant. So we have to go through all of the design and engineering and put it out to bid and all that kind of stuff. So we're probably looking at the final product will be in 2024.
Keep going, Mike.
No, well,
Oh, got a question?
no, do we want to make the motion right now, or are we gonna come back to it? To allow him to file that V-Trans.
Whatever you'd like to do.
Make a motion, we allow you to submit that V-Trans tap grant for the salt and sand shed. What kind of dollar figure do I put on that?
We're really, I guess your only thing you're really acknowledging is that there's $375,000 available
To this grant?
through the grant.
Okay.
We have our matching share. I mean, originally the thing was $800,000 is what MSK engineers said for 300 for the building, and then all $500,000 was for earthwork, materials, that kind of stuff. So if we do a lot of that work, which we have a gravel pit, we have the gravel, the geo fabric, that stuff that needs textile stuff that's put down, they had $55,000 for that. So I think that seemed a little high.
Greystone, I found that paperwork today, Greystone was like 768,000.
Yeah.
So you're in the ballpark.
So I think that we're not really, the board's not authorizing an amount right now. But you are acknowledging that the grant is, I guess, for $375,000.
I'm authorizing you to submit the completed application for the V-Trans tap grant.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Other discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
And there was a letter for the chairman to sign from the board that's supporting the project, basically.
Okay. I got it here somewhere, Mike. I know where it is.
You need a motion.
Probably in the blue folder.
So you don't need another motion to authorize you to sign that, right?
If you'd like to. If you'd like to have another motion, you could have it. You don't think it's necessary?
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay. Well, what do you folks think?
I don't think it's necessary.
Just sign it.
Do we all have to sign it? Did you just say we all had to sign it?
It's just the chairman on behalf of the select board. Perfect.
Okay, it's signed.
Thank you. I'm on page 2. The reason I bring this up to the board about the bollards up there at the transfer station is because it was one of the things written up by the loss consultant that we need to fix, safety stuff, and all the deficiencies are put into a formula, and we have to meet that we have to be less than 25%, I believe, off the top of my head, of all of the deficiencies. We can't have more than 25% uncorrected. And the bollards are on there, so Dave and Brent were working on that last week, I think, or the week before, and they've got one of them in, but they hit in some big stones, and they need the auger on the skid steer to probably get through some of that stuff. So hopefully we get to this, the ground's not frozen, and I want to apply for that damn grant in January. That's $7,500 with no match. And if we can't get our deficiencies corrected, then we won't be able to apply for the grant. So
Would someone like to make a motion regarding approval of that?
No, you don't need,
There's no match. How can you lose?
yeah, but this is not about this.
He's just loading a
I just
stone.
want to let
Brent's
you
gotta
know
dig
about
a
the
hole.
bollards, because those are one of the things.
Okay.
I just got one question on that.
Yeah.
Just clarify, I've already asked you this once and for some reason I got it started. What is a bollard?
It's a piece of metal cement in it, like the ones around the door. So if you're back into something, or you back over something you don't want to back, like a pillar.
Okay,
Like what they put around the fuel, the gas pumps.
yeah, okay,
So that people don't drive into them.
okay.
Where are these bollards?
They got them, they got one of them in.
No.
yellow metal and you put them in and then fill them with the Sackcrete after.
Where are they by the compactor or something?
Nope, when you're coming out the exit, where you put in the DI.
Okay.
And door and hit the electric, and they've got the electric box there, it's just to
Yep.
protect that. But our skid steer is still apart getting painted, so we had a hand auger. And once we hit the bone that was under the blacktop, my feet were spinning in a circle and the auger weren't spinning anymore.
Yep. So when you get the skid steer, you can dig the hole.
Yes.
How soon you gonna have that? Best guess.
Hopefully a couple weeks, but I can't make you any promises.
Mike, you need a motion on this?
No.
You don't? Okay. Proceed, Mike.
We got the back, we already got that one. On page 4B, I just let you know that we're paying $1,000 deductible for the Wang and Raylan's property. They did find us liable for the damage there, the back up into his place because of the roots that grew into the stuff. So that's what we were working on as far as that calendar of reoccurring things that we need to do each year. I'm on page 4 again on B2, the televising the lines under the Castleton corners. This has been dragging on for a long time, and we locally can't find anybody that wants to do it. So I've said that we're going to have to go outside of the area. A1 doesn't really want to do it, and Dundon's hasn't replied. It's a long stretch, and most people's cameras don't reach. They got to go from each end, and they got to go down like, I forgot, it was like 15 feet or something, then 19 feet down into that manhole. And a lot of people don't want to do that either. That's on the southwest corner by Coon's store. So we're still working on it. The board wanted to get it done, and we're just having a hard time finding people to do it.
And those are the only two local firms that would provide that service.
Yeah. On page 6, Little Rutland Road. I believe I shared with the select board the photos of the work that the highway crew did up there. And I said over and over, I'm very appreciative of what they did up there, because the quote we were getting were over $100,000 to do that job. I talked to Kevin Egan today about it, and he shook his head up and down that it was, that was going to be an expensive. Contractors are saying that's going to be expensive to do, and we had $14,600 from FEMA way back from 2019, and they went over that a little, but not by like 17 grand probably all total. Yeah. But so they did a real bang up job and kept contained the cost. We haven't made the landowner totally happy yet, and Kevin and I, he come in and talked to me today about it. But we have some work to do in the spring to go back up there and do some landscaping and make sure that we left it as at least as good a shape as we found it. But that's huge to get that off our plate. So I just say thanks to the highway crew for you guys.
Thank you.
So can I just that, so it's permanently fixed?
Permanently fixed.
It wasn't a temporary fix like that?
No, brand new culvert, right from the road right down to the water.
They went underneath the retaining wall and never had to tear that apart.
So you did what we thought, we talked about?
We were 14 feet in the ground at the retaining wall, getting the culvert underneath there. Took us 2 days digging around all them pieces of wood and whatnot so we could save the retaining wall. But
What'd you do about the dead men on the retaining wall?
There was.
What'd you do about them?
We had, some of them we had to cut about 12 inches off. So we could get just the width of the bucket down. To take
How
the
long were they?
I don't know for sure how long they were, but some of them we had to cut 12 inches off.
I guess they were probably 6 to 8 feet, some of them.
So they're still substantially there.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Absolutely.
My concern. Okay,
Okay.
Yeah, it was quite a project.
nice job, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. Thank you.
If the contractors estimated it's gonna be $100,000 and we did it for 17 or 25 time we get done. Does that open up anybody else's eyes besides myself?
Well, right, we've looked at projects over the last few years and they're always gonna be high. Some seem to be, when they don't want to do them, they bid high.
Okay, okay. Maybe that was one of the deals.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, this one was, there was a lot of little nuances that they had to do to get, even just get in there, so.
Two retaining walls, his sewer system, we were digging up along the side, well, electric. Yeah, there was quite a
Propane.
bunch of obstacles down through there.
Old footers for another
We were-
works or something that was
We were
there.
pulling sonotubes out of the top of the old culvert.
Water line, power line to the well.
Yeah. It was fun, Bobby.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure, I'm sure.
But good job, you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We
Good
had someone with a good touch on the digger, right?
job.
Okay, Mike.
Thanks, Heath.
Priming, the tandem, so we talked to the board, you guys authorized the painting and sandblasting of the trucks, and so that Bobby, thanks you for the Green Mountain Mobile sandblasting.
They work out.
Yeah, they did. They came there, did their thing.
Good.
And now Stretch has finished the tandem, right? He primed and painted it, and they're working on the skid steer now. But those trucks should be in good shape to last for a while longer, plus they got undercoated.
Yep.
So I think it's the first time in a while, haven't they been undercoated?
Might be the first time we've ever sent them or have somebody else do it.
They never sent.
Yeah. North Road, that culvert, that's nothing. Well, it wasn't something they replaced the culvert on North Road. Where was it? I don't remember exactly where that one was. The one you did, up near,
Sand Hill we did, not North. Road.
that was near Crystal Heights or something.
No, we did ditch it at the end of North. Road.
Oh, okay.
Out of Route 30.
I stand corrected on that. On page 8, C, police station, just kind of give you a heads up that TSA reached out to Castleton Police Department about putting a fingerprint terminal in there. And Chief brought the contract to me. I had Attorney Precy look at it. He said it's not really in his area of expertise. So VLCT is in the process of reviewing that. If they don't come back with any real concerns about liability, then I want to move forward and put that in. It's paid for 100%. Wages, benefits, all that stuff for the operator. We have to dedicate one person on Wednesdays. But it's, as you saw by the police chief's report, they're doing more and more fingerprints. We're like one of the only shows in town, and he's generating a lot of revenue off fingerprints. But this one here is more of a benefit to those that need fingerprints. And we just get all of the expenses paid to include people. We don't have to work on it. They have IT folks, they do all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a win-win. We don't really lose anything. And like I said, if VLCT has no issues with it, then I plan on moving forward unless the board has some objection to it.
It looks like you're being cautious enough, so.
Any objections from the board?
No, but what does TSA mean?
Transportation Security Administration,
Administration.
the ones in the airport that,
Safety administration.
safety, no,
Okay.
yeah, security or safety?
Safety, I thought it was safety. Could be security.
I believe it's safety.
Yeah, so TSA, the folks that check you out when you go to the airport.
They're under Homeland Security.
I gave you an update on the grant application for the emergency management stuff, just waiting to hear back at this point. We didn't have any quotes back from anybody. Paul McClure was the only one that came on site, and he still hasn't given me the quote, and it's been 2 weeks. So they probably gonna move on without it, and hopefully they've got a killer for it. On page 10 and 9B on page 10, assistance to firefighters grant. So the contract with Lexipol was signed. They invoiced us for the 3,500. And today I reached out to the person that's assigned to us and gave them some information that Dan Ducharme had shared. And I gave them Dan and Chief's contact information so that can start moving forward. Thanks to the fire department, I guess that you guys did your stuff a truck. That was successful, but not as bad.
Like I said, volume and donations were down considerably what they have been in the past. But they, we had a day, the weather was rainy, terrible, cold that day. That always affects it. And like I said, the volume, we didn't get the volume we don't do, but we did what we did.
And that goes to Castleton Cares?
Castleton Cares, yeah.
So it's the benefit of Castleton Cares. Well, thank you. And then plus the parade, the support you guys gave to the parade, and cookies with Santa was a big success.
That was, like I said, it was full. The first 2 hours here after the parade we were pretty full, hour and a half.
It's awesome to keep you on. You're scolding me.
Cookies with Santa.
Yeah.
American Legion Auxiliary provided the cookies for Santa.
So
the Legion cooked the cookies and brought them here. They donated the cookies, brought them here, and we handed them out here.
So thanks to the Legion Auxiliary too.
Yeah.
I'm on page number 12, down in the middle under historic cemetery. I had said something to the board in the past that I didn't think any work got done down there. Nothing wasn't read in on it, I guess. And come to find out, it was. So Ray had stopped and talked to Melanie or called her, one or the other, had a conversation with her. And we got the invoice from Balcard Memorials, and they did over 200 monuments in the old historic cemetery next to the Federated Church. So that $9,000 was expended.
I'll just make a comment on that. You guys said something about, well, they never spent the money the first year. That wouldn't have even begun to touch. You needed money from both years to pay for the $9,000.
That's why we two different years now to emphasize what you're saying.
Yeah.
For 2 different years, the board has encumbered money and they got a bang for their buck, that $9,000 or $10,000. So it works out better that way.
Yeah.
There was basically a minimum charge from the vendor, so we had to make sure we had enough money to pay the minimum charge and enough work to make it.
That's right. That's
Mutually
exactly
beneficial.
That's said the right way, Dick.
Which is why we carried it over for 2 years.
Yep.
And then I'm on page 13, what everyone wants to talk about is the draft budget. So I presented a draft budget with knowing that nothing survives first contact. And it's up, if over last year, it's $489,000. I think I changed something that's a little bit more than that now, but I'm not looking at it. But I look at those numbers enough, then I know that won't survive first contact, but I wanted to paint the picture for the select board, taking into account the increased costs for fuel, utilities, wages, benefits. A lot of that money, that's where they come from. One of the biggest expenditures that the town has in the highway department is paving. Normally it's $209,000 that's budgeted there. I can make with one click of the thing, I can take the highway budget to 0. over last year. By using highway carryover, the paving and the unassigned carryover to pay for the $209,000 of paving. So that takes their $192,000 over last year away. Just saying that's how we could do it that way. But that only counts for one department. And then you got police and fire are some of the higher ones. And I asked Chief to be here tonight. I asked Pete to be here as well. If there's any questions, I know that you guys weren't going to do a deep dive into this tonight. But a lot of the stuff, like the fire department, they haven't presented the vehicle replacement plan yet, but they're getting close. And they want to increase the reserve from 62.5 to 111 or 115,000, I think it was, to support that plan. This is just a draft, it's in there, but they still have to present the plan to the Public Safety Committee to be able to support all this. But typically the fire department and first response have done minimal asking for the voters for more money, and it really refrained from doing that. And we've come to this point where the grants aren't coming in, and the stuff's expensive. Fire trucks especially are just horrendously expensive. So I'll let Chief talk about that if he wants to, but I think he just wanted to be here if there was any questions, but they haven't presented their vehicle replacement plan yet either, so.
And the other thing I wanted to present, I talked to the board a little bit last year about this, is to set up another reserve account for long-term small equipment. You talked about during the ARPA time about maybe taking some ARPA money to buy air packs. I'd like to set up an account that would, because our general sinking fund is for our trucks. It's not for the small equipment, our ice water rescue equipment, our extrication tools that has got a lifespan, but it's 15 years out. I would like to know if the board would support and ask the voters to set up another, the way Mike has explained to me, and you can step in, Mike, if I get some of this wrong. You guys got to bring it to the voters to be able to set up another reserve account for what I would call small tools and equipment, or I don't know what else you want to use for it, but I'm talking extrication tools, ice water rescue equipment, the air packs, the air bottles. The budget seems to flex when we need this stuff, and I'd like to see a place where we can set X amount of dollars aside a year in an account. So when it's time that our extrication tools, the guy comes here and it's broke, he said it's at the end of its lifespan, you need to replace it, can't be fixed no more, that we could go to have it an account that we could go to replace it.
Okay. Yes, Dick.
I need to ask the chief two questions, mainly so that everyone else is aware of the numbers. If we had to replace all 4 sets of tools for the extrication right now, what would that cost us roughly?
They're about 15 grand a tool,
So roughly 60K,
around 60,000.
just so you know. So that's for the jaws. That's spreaders, 2 spreaders, a ram, and a set of cutters. So that's only 4 tools. Air packs are what now, Keith?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Joe.
Thank you. I don't think we should get into this issue at this point. This is probably the most important issue for citizens of this town, and it's not on the agenda. And some of you may know I'm not at the meeting because I tested positive for COVID on Friday, but I haven't seen Mike's budget plan. I think we should put that on our website and put this item on our next agenda and move on.
I agree.
It will be, just to clarify this, I guess I didn't expect anybody to make decisions today. I was trying to explain some of the big numbers in there. And I'm also available for any of the select board members that want to come in during the week and go over the budget spreadsheet.
Let me just make a comment. The budget process, as I understand it, in my former life, I went through a lot of them for 30 years. The budget process is for the departments to make requests to you, the manager. You meet with the department heads if you feel it's necessary. You either approve, add, or subtract. Once you're finished, it becomes your budget. It's not theirs, it becomes your budget. And once it comes to us and we approve it to go on the March ballot, we are responsible for it because we are, those of us who sign the warrant, are responsible for defending it. So what I'm doing is I'm agreeing with what Joel is saying. I think those comments should requests go to Mike. Mike can meet with you. If he wants to talk to anybody else, he's more than welcome to do so. I'm sure if you reach out now that we might have a chance to look at it. I mean, it's just like some of the other things we got tonight. We hadn't even seen them before. And I agree, put it on the item for the next thing. But what is the bottom line, Mike, of your budget increase? 489?
Or it changed, it went down a little bit, I think.
Now, let me ask you one question. If you were to use the carryover funds from the highway department, would that be subtracted from the 489? Okay, all right, thank you.
So this is just, I presented to you, so what I don't have is guidance from the board. So this handing this out to you, hopefully this will spur some conversation and there may be some guidance that comes back. I had proposed.
All this, right? As we're talking about.
The green column.
Yeah, the green column. Yeah.
Is that I put a number in there for pay wages, and I think I need to explain that to you. Because if you walk away from this meeting and we don't have a general understanding, then you're gonna look at it and not know where it came from. But I use the CPI-U New England, like the police department, that's where I came up with the full-time this November.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Joe.
Apologize for interrupting. I agree with what the manager is saying, that we do need an explanation, but I think so does everyone else in town who's interested in the affairs of the select board. And if this is not on the agenda, they had no opportunity to show up and tune into this meeting and hear his explanation.
All right, fair enough.
Okay.
But I'm available if anybody wants to
Fine.
talk to me during the week, if you have a question on it. But we'll definitely, the next agenda is not till January 9th. That's where I'm getting a little antsy, is because we're not having the meeting on December 26th. So that moves it closer and closer to that final, like, you gotta have a budget to put in the ballot articles. So that's.
Isn't the deadline on the ballot item the end of January?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we have a special meeting specifically for one thing?
Yes.
Can we have a budget meeting on the 27th or something along those lines?
I think we should.
Why not?
We can't go a month without another meeting, can we?
Oh, we
We're
could
probably gonna have to
go
pay some bills
along.
too, so we probably have to authorize warrants.
Yeah.
But that's what I was talking to Jim about it, or last week, and said, if you're not having the meeting on the 26th, then you could have a special just for budget meeting, and we could put the warrants in front of you too.
Well, is there a consensus then that we could have a special meeting on December 27th with the only item on there, budgets and warrants?
Is that a Tuesday?
That's a Tuesday.
That's Tuesday.
I would not attend a meeting on the 27th, but I would attend a meeting on the 28th, 29th, or
Okay.
either of those days.
How about any of those days, folks?
I could attend a meeting on either of those days.
Mary Lee, how about you? You make those dates? 28th, 29th?
Probably.
That's a Wednesday and
Trying
Thursday.
to see if I got my cell phone here.
Okay. How about you, Bob?
That's fine.
That's
Whatever
fine.
day you guys pick.
Fine with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I left it home, but I'll make it work.
You make it? Okay. Why don't you,
You have it in
how
drill here?
about if we,
28th Wednesday night, we'll have a drill. We'll be here on drill.
well, then
Let's do the
we'll go
29th.
the next night, the 29th.
I'm just saying,
That's okay.
yeah,
Yep.
That's a Thursday. then.
It's a Thursday.
So
That's a
29th?
Thursday. You okay
7
there?
o'clock?
Okay. All right, 29th special meeting at what time? 6:30?
Whatever works for you guys.
That's fine.
That's
6:30 is fine.
Can we start with for New Year's Eve, start that day?
Pardon?
Do what?
What?
She wants to start drinking for New Year's Eve.
on the 29th?
Sure.
All right.
Right after the meeting, do whatever you want.
We could have it on the 25th at noon if you want.
All right, And we'll warn it for the 29th at 6:30.
Okay,
And if any of your questions that.
anything else, Mike? You're done. Okay, any other questions for Mike?
I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah,
Okay, Bob.
there was one, did you skip over that total? You needed a,
49?
well, no. Page 9. Action needed down at the bottom of the page, you have it all highlighted. Did you touch on that at all, or is that something we don't have to talk about right now, or?
What page are you on, Bob?
Page 9 at the bottom, Dick, it's all highlighted in yellow.
Yeah, that should have been highlighted, Bob. The board had made a decision last time that CVS would be out to do it at the garage.
Okay, so that's.
That's
Yeah, I
okay.
just missed the.
Oh, that's fine.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for Mike? Okay, next item on the agenda, I believe, is Castleton Village School discussion, response to the Hubbardton Select Board. We communicated to the Hubbardton Select Board our position on the sale and the buyout. And they have politely rejected it. And is there any discussion on this?
Yeah, just so everybody's clear on it. What was our final proposal?
Our proposal was to pay them $25,000 to buy them out. And if the building sold for more than what their 11% was, they would receive their full 11%, which is what they're in for now. Castleton is in for 89% and Hubbardton 11%. And they obviously are not happy with that. By the way, the $25,000 that we offered, we don't have.
Thank you for adding that, Mr. Levy. Dick, you're good with them, pretty good with numbers. What percentage is 25,000?
I don't know. I could figure it out.
Just roughly. 49.5 was on this, was it
That'd be-
on
That's
450?
at 450.
So it was on 225. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Probably sounds about right.
Yeah, 225, okay.
Well, let me verify that, but this sounds about right.
Take 11% of 225. I just want to know what dollar amount we're trying to.
Yeah, it's 225. It's
Okay.
24,750 would be,
Okay.
it'd be 11% of 225. So it's
Okay.
somewhere between 228, maybe 227.
All right.
Joe's got his hand up.
Joe,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm a little concerned about the last 3 paragraphs of Mr. Gibbs' letter, because I think it lays the seeds of confusion potentially in the future. And I think that we should send Robert Gibbs and the other members of the board potentially a response that in effect says we understand and respect your decision to reject our offer, and we'll work with you as co-owners of the building, but that we want to clarify some of the statements made in your letter so that there's no future confusion. I think we went into this decision in part because we thought that this joint town decision-making was complicated and time-consuming. But honestly, if Hubbardton doesn't want to accept our offer, I think we should say, fine, then let's work together as co-owners and do our best to manage this property. But I do think we need to respond in a way that tries to untangle some of what they've said, what Robert has said in those last 3 paragraphs, which, and I would personally be willing to draft a response for the board's or the chair's approval, if you think that a response in writing is appropriate.
Does the board feel that's appropriate?
A response in writing, I do. Yeah.
I agree with Joe. Joe, can I point out one thing to Mr. Mark, please?
Sure.
Joe, in the second to the last paragraph, Mr. Gibbs states that Castleton Select Board continue to discuss the building and its uses without input from the Select Board, Hubbardton Select Board.
Yeah.
I question the accuracy of that, because if I recall at that meeting, after you made the motion to consider the buyout, the only other motion that was made was by yours truly to decline the offer from Tersa Brannick of purchasing the building. And if my recollection is correct, all members present from both select boards voted on that. Do you recall that?
I do. I think that's correct.
Yeah, so if you could verify that and include that in your, correction to that statement in your letter, I would find that helpful.
It's October 26th.
You have the minutes?
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, I just questioned when I read this letter, I questioned the accuracy of that paragraph. Okay?
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so is it the board's position that we'd ask Joe to draft a letter subject to the approval of the board? Respond to the Hubbardton Select Board?
I agree.
You agree? Mary Lee, you agree with that? How about you?
I'm in agreement with that.
Okay. Joe, would you be in agreement with that also?
I would.
Thanks.
Okay, I have one other comment on this whole issue.
Well, I have it in my other vehicle, but
I think it's time to come up with a number of what the expenses to date are on this building as of a date, pick one, whatever's convenient for you and your staff, Mike.
July 1.
No, from July 1, obviously.
From July 1.
To a date. I don't care if it's November 30th or December 15th
Sure.
or whatever is convenient for you and your staff, Mike. And then figure out what 11% of that is and present a bill to, or an invoice to the town of Hubbardton. And if it's $700 or 80,000, they need to know that. I don't think it's 80K, but it's probably somewhere between 500 and $1,000, and they need to understand what it is they're agreeing to continue doing. And also, we may want to share with them the fact that we're gonna have to buy fuel soon, right?
I checked the other day, we're at 5,000 gallons of 10,000. We're not there yet, but
Have we purchased fuel?
No.
We haven't yet. We're using what's in the tank. Okay.
And they're gonna be responsible for 11% of that as well, so.
11% of everything.
So I think it's time to make sure that everyone understands what this is gonna cost us. Plus, I think we need to know what it's gonna cost us.
Okay, any other questions on this? And Joe, your agreement to drafting the letter?
Yes, I am. And just a comment. I have been, I was briefly muted, and now my video has been stopped by the host. I don't know whether I'm having a battery problem or not, but if you lose me, you'll know why.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Okay, have we taken care of that?
I think we've pretty well chewed this bone, haven't we?
I do have one question as far as the village school is concerned, but not the sale. Didn't the high school want to use the village school? What did we do about that, or didn't we?
I told them I wasn't inclined to help them at this point because they turned us down for the elementary school. So we need that building for rec for our basketball and for basketball right now.
So you took care of it?
Yep.
It's done, it's over.
And it was only an email conversation between the athletic director and myself, so.
Anything else on this?
I would ask that Mary Krogi.
Yeah.
When you find out what the exact wording was on the sale of the building, whether there was a caveat in there saying that the purchaser had to provide a lease. I don't know if it said rec, but it had to provide a lease upon the purchase of the building. Or you said tonight, Dick, you said consider.
I don't recall my exact words is what I said, and I said that we'll have to check the minutes.
Okay, but at the last meeting, I was sitting right here. I was told that in that purchase agreement of that building, the purchaser had to provide a lease. That's what was said at the last meeting.
I had minutes up, and I believe at the time I read it off the minutes.
Am I correct when I'm saying that, Mike?
Yeah, I don't know the exact words, but it had something about the lease consideration.
Okay, consideration and caveat are two totally different.
Just for clarity. Just for clarity, on July 7th, this board and Hubbardton's board voted to sell the building with a condition of a lease back to the rec department. Okay,
Condition,
or I don't recall the exact words. Does
But that
anyone
means-
have the July 7th minutes?
it
Andy?
makes all the difference in the world, the exact words. I'm just asking, when you find out the exact words,
We, in that motion, which everyone voted yes to except for me.
correct?
The words in there were some sort of a consideration for a lease. I don't recall the exact words. But there wasn't any wiggle room in that one. Then when yours truly made the motion to sell, to list the building for sale, and that was in probably August or late July. I used the word may on purpose so that we had some wiggle room when we put the advertisement out there. And there are two separate animals here.
Yeah, well,
I have the July minutes in front of me. Do you want me to read you the motion?
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Allison. Get us
Jim?
out.
Jim Leamy made a motion that the towns of Castleton and Hubbardton agree to sell the Castleton Village School building to a private entity with an agreement. The owner will provide a long-term lease with adequate space to the recreation department.
That's exactly correct. And that's exactly what I said
so the purchaser had to provide a lease
at
to the
that
rec.
time.
Okay,
Let's get out of the weeds a little bit. The intent of the board, this board, is to provide adequate space for the recreation department. If it could be done in the village school and a business plan was presented, which we have never seen, then that's one way to do it. Or it could have been sold and other facilities will be made available to the rec department. There's no intent to shortchange the recreation department on having adequate facilities. There may be some discussion or disagreement as to what adequate facilities are. That's why we tried to get the use of the elementary school and were turned down by the Slate Valley District, even though we're paying for it through the taxpayers. And so we're kind of hung out there now. But that's basically where we stand. And what Allison read was exactly what I said.
Would you like to hear the one from September that Dick made?
I do, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, let's hear that.
I need some clarification on this.
Dick Combs made a motion to authorize the town manager, Michael Jones, to advertise the Castleton Village School building and 1 acre of land for sale at the price of $660,000 with the verbiage that to the effect that the town may want to retain a portion of the building for recreational purposes.
Okay. Any question on that?
You want me to explain why I worded it? the
Nah,
way
you
I
don't.
did?
No, I don't need that, Dick, but
Okay.
what Mike said at the last meeting, he said, nope, the purchaser's got to provide a spot. That's what you said. That they weren't interested. The two people that looked at it were not interested in leasing that. So leasing that part back to the town or better to anybody.
So
I just want to make sure that's not,
I said, is that a non-starter? If someone come in and said, I'll buy the building for $660,000, but I'm gonna give you no provision for rec, I said, is that a non-starter? Am I really, they're kicking the tires, but should, if they're not gonna give a lease or consideration for a lease, is that a valid offer?
Okay.
And I think one
That's
time
good.
Dick said, nothing's off the table or everything can
No,
be
I
considered.
nothing's
did it the way I did it just for that reason. So everything is still on the table
Sure
and
it
you've got room to at least cast a net out and see what shows up.
Joe Mark's hands up too.
And if
Okay, Joe.
I just wanted to comment. I believe, Mr. Chairman, you may have said that we have not received a business plan. I probably would agree with that, but I think that the Save Rec proposal that was submitted to us was, at least in the view of the Rec Commission and its supporters, probably a version of a business plan. And at our last meeting, I had requested that that be shared with all of the board members. I don't believe that it has necessarily, but I think it's important that everyone have the opportunity to review that.
You're correct, Joe.
Thank you.
If I'm gonna be the one doing that, I don't know if I have a copy of that. I know it was discussed at an ad hoc committee meeting, but I'm not sure if I have a copy of that.
I think you will find that in the CVS committee folder collection.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on this?
Not right now.
You sure now, Dick?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, let's move on to purchase orders for approval. Somebody like to do, what do we have? One here?
Yeah, I'll do it.
One, Parker.
I'll make a motion. We approve purchase order number 049460 to Bowker and Son Memorials for cleaning memorials for historical cemeteries for $9,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Now we move on. Motion passed. We move on to the warrants for approval.
Make a motion. We approve warrant number 1212 for $97,729.33. Warrant number 1208 for $21,735.99. Warrant 1202 for $9,766.97. Warrant 1208P for $15,960.00. And warrant 1201P for $17,049.74.
I'll second it.
And a second.
I'll second it.
Is there discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. Where the heck's the originals?
They're usually in the red folder.
Yeah, I know, but I thought I pulled them off there.
Allison, did you get all those?
We can use the copy. Not if I got. I've got
Give me the
two.
red folder. I'll double check.
Allison, this is Mike. I had to step away. Did you get, who made the motions and seconded in the vote for the warrants?
For the warrants, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Got him, Dick. Thanks. Here we go.
Can I make a motion to approve warrant number 1209P? $147.02. Warrant number 1202P for $647.02.
Second that.
And you second that. Any discussion on these?
I recuse myself.
You recuse yourself? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. There you go, Bob.
Aha.
I'll ship them over
There
to
we
you in a
go.
hurry.
Okay.
I got my first fuel delivery for the winter flood. After the heat pumps got put in the fall. I was pretty happy, 53 gallons.
Nice.
Of course, the electric bill is gonna go up.
That's what I wondered.
If I've done so far, my projection is the electric bill is gonna go up $800 a year.
That's a lot less than what you pay on fuel though.
Yeah, I was just
That'll
gonna say
save
that.
me about
Sure.
3,000 in fuel.
Sure.
So my net's gonna be a little over 2K, which means it'll be about a 3.5 year payback. And anytime you get 3 to 5 years
Yep,
payback on a capital investment, it's worth it.
that's good.
Yeah, turn my-
Mike, should we take this with us?
Line your tap box with it.
Me,
I
That's your
personally
baby.
plan on going through it and taking a good hard look at it. I don't know what you're gonna do.
Sorry.
I want a magnifying glass and then I'm gonna take a look at it.
Just so you're aware, there's, we had to put a place in there to account for the expenses at the village school, so it's in there. It's listed as a separate item and it's when you come across, it's all in yellow.
You're
that's-
talking about,
That's not in the 489?
No, it's in there.
It's in there, okay.
and what category is that under, Mike? Okay.
Under.
That's the word I use, Jim. Don't be stealing my words.
How many are you looking for, Jim?
So that's all the expenses, the projected expenses.
Looking for 7.
Oh, it's got its own category.
For now. Had to do something to show
You
it.
have to, right?
Well, so you determine, I guess you have to determine where you're gonna actually put it.
I know.
General government building, whatever. This is a breakdown that shows. So it's not buried somewhere else.
Yeah.
Coming out of somewhere. Got 7, Bob?
I got 7.
Or
Jim.
Dick? Yeah, okay.
What's your name, Bill?
George?
Hey, George.
Select board comments and or concerns. Anyone have any select board comments or concerns?
I'm not sure if this should be executive session or not, so let's do it in executive session, but yes, I have something.
I have one thing too, but executive session.
Okay,
It will be for personnel, and it won't take long.
Mine will be under real estate.
well,
Okay,
at least you
we're
guys
gonna
got two different ones. Okay,
At least we know what we're talking about now.
all right. Any other, Bob, do you have anything?
Other than that, no.
No. Mary Lee?
No.
No. Joe, do you have anything on select board comments or concerns?
I don't, except that I would ask Mike to allow my video. I'm now plugged in, so I think my signal is going to be fine.
Okay,
I don't know what happened there.
I didn't know the host could deny your video.
Yeah.
okay. Do we need a brief recap? Or did we have enough?
I think we beat this dog already.
Anything else? If not, seems like there's a need for, from what I'm hearing, 2 executive. One on real estate and I believe one on personnel.
What's the real estate subject? You know, or
Castle Village School.
Okay, is there a motion to go into executive session on either one of them?
For real estate, it's just.
Real estate, is there a second?
I'll make that one, yeah.
Make the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it at 9:04.
Okay. My heavens.
I gotta stop her.
Presumably with the town manager.
With the town manager, correct?
And the board, yeah.
Town
Allison, you want me
manager
to
and the
put you
board.
in the waiting room?
Yeah, that's fine.
Back.
And everybody.
Okay,
Hold on, Jim, I got everybody back in. Yeah, Allison's in, Keith Whitcomb's still here too, so
Oh,
there's.
he's the Herald reporter, okay.
Okay, good.
Make a
Okay.
motion, we come out of executive session at 9:08 with no action taken.
I'll second it.
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item.
Make the motion, we go into executive session with the board and the town manager at 9:08 for personnel.
I'll second it.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're in executive session for personnel.
We will be.
Go ahead. Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we come out of executive session with no action taken at 9:22.
I'll second it.
And a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Make a motion, we adjourn at 9:22.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.